Hello, good people. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Iron Facts Countdown. My name is Anne, and today we are getting ready for the permanent residence application. Okay, so we'll be looking at all the documents that we need to prepare to submit an application, and the reason why I decided to do this video, it's because most of the immigration programs that I've been encouraging you to apply to, they are all pathways leading to permanent residence, which needs you to be PR ready. Okay, and PR ready means that you meet all the minimum eligibility requirements and also have all the documents that are required on hand to be able to complete your application in a timely manner, and also be able to have the correct documents when submitting an application. Okay, and when you do that, what happens is that your application will be more efficient. There is going to be few delays, and your application is going to be processed much faster. So it's very, very important for you to be ready, and especially for those people and for everyone who has a dream of migrating to Canada. This is a very good way to get prepared and to be ahead by knowing what you need and have all those documents ready to go. Okay, so without further ado, let's check them out. We have a few things that we need to prepare, and first and foremost is to make sure that you are eligible for whichever program that you are applying to. So number one, it's program eligibility. So make sure that you are eligible for that program and you meet the minimum requirement before even you proceed to submit an application. Okay, so make sure that you qualify for that program. That's number one. Number two is your identity document. Okay, so you need to prepare and you need to gather all your documents, whether it's your civil status documents, your passport, all the documents, identity documents for every family member that is accompanying you. Have their passports ready, have their birth certificates ready if they are minors. Okay, so, and all those documents, they must be in English, and if they're not in English, they should be translated into English or French. Are we together? If we are together, kindly hit that like button and the subscription button if you have not done that yet. Thank you. All right, so moving forward, we are also going to prepare the education credentials documents. Okay, and our credentials must be assessed by IRCC approved organizations, so that they can qualify to meet the standard for immigration. Okay, so your education must be assessed, whether you have a high school certificate, if you have a university degree, or if you have a college diploma. Get those assessed to determine whether they are equivalent to the same education standard of the same level here in Canada, okay? And there are various agencies that are approved by the immigration, that is IRCC, to do those assessments. They are those professionals who probably have done their credential assessments for licensure. Some of those assessments can also be used for immigration, so you don't have to do another assessment for your immigration. You can still use the same assessment, okay? So number one approved agency is the World Education Service, that's WES. And then the other one is the Comparative Education Service, that is SES. The other one is the International Credential Assessment Service of Canada, that is ICARS. And then we have International Qualification Assessment Service, that is the IQAS. And we also have International Credential Evaluation Service, that is the ICES. Okay, so those are the agencies that are approved to do your credential assessment. So make sure that you do your credential assessment, and the best thing is that your credential assessment do not expire. You can be able to use them any times. If your documents need to be translated, remember they have to be in English or in French. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we are going to look at is the language proficiency, or the language tests. With the immigration, language test is a must, and there is no way to evade language test, okay? The best thing about the immigration language test is that they just require the general training, or their benchmark is quite low, other than for a student or for a professional who is seeking a licensure. So the benchmark or the band score is a little bit lower, so almost everybody can be able to achieve the benchmark, like the Canadian benchmark for immigration, okay? So what you need to do, you can either do the IELTS, that's approved by the IRCC, or you can do the CELPIP, or you can do the TEF Canada, that is for French. And we have different Canadian language benchmark scores that are required depending on which program or employer. Sometimes if your immigration is through an employer, they might require a higher benchmark or a higher score, but usually the scores could be a CLB of 4, 5, or a 7. With the IELTS, with all the skills that are required, the reading, the writing, the listening, and the speaking, you are going to need, for those who require a CLB of 4 or a benchmark of 4, so you will need to have 3.5 in reading, 4 in writing, and 4.5 in listening, and 4 in speaking, okay? And especially for those people who are coming in with the trades, I think CLB of 4 will be good for you guys, okay? For those who require a CLB of 5, and if you want to know which score you require, check the program that you are applying to. They always have the language benchmark that they need from you, okay? So you can be able to tell which score you need for that program, okay? So for those who need a CLB of 5, you need a 4 in reading, you need a 5 in writing, a 5 in listening, and a 5 in speaking. And those ones are for those who are doing the IELTS. Okay, so if you're doing the IELTS, that is your score. All right. For those who require a CLB of 7, then they require a 6 in all the skills. If you're going to do a CELPIP, the CELPIP test, then if you are in the CLB of 4, if your program requires a CLB of 4, then you need 4 in all the skills. Okay, so if you require a CLB of 5, then you need a score of 5 in all the skills. Okay, if you require a CLB of 7, then you will need a 7 in all the skills. For those who are going to be doing the TEF Canada, so if you're doing the TEF Canada for CLB 4, if your program requires a CLB of 4, then you need 121 for reading, you require 181 for writing, you will require 145 for listening, and 181 for speaking. Okay, if you require a CLB of 5, then your TEF score for reading will be 151, 226 for writing, 181 for listening, 226 for speaking. Okay, if you require a CLB of 7, then you require a 207 for reading, 310 for writing, 249 for listening, and 310 for speaking. Okay, and one more test that is approved for Canada, that is a French test, is the TCF. So if you're going to take the TCF, then for CLB of 4, you require 342 for reading, a 4 for writing, 331 for listening, and a 4 for speaking. Okay, for those who require a CLB of 7, they will need a 453 for reading, 10 for writing, 458 for listening, and 10 for speaking. If you require a CLB of 5, then you need 375 for reading, a 6 in writing, 369 in listening, and 6 in speaking. Wow. So those are the language tests and the scores that you need for your permanent residency application, depending on which program that you are applying to. Okay, all right. So the other thing that you require, that is the letters of employment. Okay, letters of employment. So you must provide letters of employment to confirm your professional experience. So talk to your current and previous employers about obtaining a letter that meets the requirements for immigration to Canada. So the letters must be written on a company's letterhead. They must be signed by the responsible officer or supervisor. They must show the company's full address, telephone number, their email, and their website address if they have one, and then they must be stamped with the company's official seal if applicable. Okay, and then These letters must include certain information, and number one, they must specify the period of your employment within the company, like how many years have you worked in the company, okay? And then they must specify the position that you held during the period that you worked in that company. If you were a manager, whichever position that you held in that company, then they need to specify that. And also they need to specify the time that you spent in that position, okay? They also require your main responsibilities. So the letter must be able to state the main responsibilities and the duties of each position that you held in that company. The other thing is your total annual salary plus the benefits, and also the number of hours you worked per week. So that letter must be able to specify the number of hours you worked every week and your total salary and your benefits. So those are the basic minimal requirements that anyone who is applying for these programs that lead to a permanent resident should be able to prepare, okay? I know most of them you might be having them on hand, but those which you do not have, make sure that you have them ready. Remember that when these opportunities are opening up, most of them, they require you to have those documents on hand because they want you to submit them almost immediately. And one more thing that I would like to add onto that is your resume. Make sure you have an updated resume because they are going to require that too for your immigration. So once you have that, then you'll be ready to go. All right, so I think that's all for today. If you like the video, if you liked the information that I provided, kindly hit the like button and hit the subscription button, and don't forget to put on the notification bell so that you can be notified once we upload a new video. That brings us to the end of this video. Watch out for our next one. See you. Bye bye.